Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Leadership Void podcast. It's Enrique and Vince here today. We have someone from the local area. We're looking at Tampa now, so thank you for being back with us. Love to be back at home, but Vince will introduce our guest.
Yeah, here in the Sunshine State, we're loving it. Getting ready to turn a leaf on the fall coming up soon. But here we are with April Caldwell. She is the co-founder and CEO of FayVen in the greater Tampa area. So April, thank you for being on the show. Let's just kick off and tell us a little bit about you.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. Again, my name is April Caldwell, and yes, I am the co-founder and CEO of FayVen. So for a little bit about me, I graduated high school and joined the Air Force right away. About a month after graduation, I joined the Air Force, which we just had our birthday a couple days ago. So happy birthday, Air Force. And I was actually a dental lab technician in the Air Force. It has nothing to do with entrepreneurship now or what I'm doing now, but that's how I met my husband, and that's exactly where I needed to be at the time. So I got to be stationed at places like Colorado Springs. I was stationed in Germany for a few years, which was incredible. And then I was stationed in San Angelo, Texas. And then after that, me and my husband got married. I moved to California where he was stationed. And then a few years after that, he retired. We moved to Austin, Texas for a bit. I started working at the VA in the government role, and in the mental health clinic. So I went from dental to mental. So, and then I worked there for about 5 years. But I think there's a lot of issues still with with government roles and positions that cause a lot of stress for the employees, especially if you're a veteran as well. So part of that led me to deciding to leave the VA for good and start my own company as a popcorn person. And that's a little bit strange because I had no background in popcorn, no background in entrepreneurship, but I knew that I wanted to be my own boss at that point. And so I started this popcorn company called The Princess and the Popper. It was a home-based business where I made all my popcorn at home, and we went to farmers markets and different local events and things like that. And that's how I got into FayVen, because there was such a need for what we're doing at FayVen, which is helping mobile businesses find places to do local pop-up shops.
That is an absolutely wonderful story to hear the transition. We never know what roads are ahead of us. It seems like you took the turns right when you were supposed to. And so congratulations on that. FayVen, what an exciting thing to have. So tell us a little bit about FayVen.
So FayVen, again, was born out of my popcorn company. I would always go to local events and ask other vendors, hey, how did you hear about this event? Or, how do I apply for this next event? And, they'd be like, oh, well, you have to know so-and-so, or, we were at this event last year. And so we kind of got grandfathered in. It was always word of mouth. And for me, I was frustrated with that. I was so I didn't know, as a new business owner, I didn't know where to go to find places to sell my products. And I thought, this is going to be really hard if I don't have my own storefront. And we did. We tried to get 3 places in this town called Buda, which is just south of Austin. And for whatever reason, we got rejected. And I think the reason was because I needed to create FayVen. Otherwise, I'd be in Buda still with my popcorn company, and which would be great. But I definitely think that there's a much greater need for FayVen in the world than popcorn, believe it or not. So, yeah, FayVen is going to be a marketplace where mobile businesses or home-based businesses can go in, create a profile, and search for openings at local venues. And by venues, I just mean anybody who has a storefront that has extra space and wants to rent that out to local business owners. That could be a side sidewalk, that could be a parking lot. If you own that parking lot and you want to do a farmer's market style pop-up shop for the weekend, we got you on that. And if you have a boutique and you just want to rent out a corner of your store for the week, we've got you on that too. So the sky's the limit. Even if you have a commercial kitchen that you're not using at night and you want to rent that out to local, restaurant people or people who have home-based businesses that need a commercial kitchen so that they can put their stuff on store shelves, we got you on that too. So Faven is that it's the Airbnb of small business. We help people find places to do temporary retail.
Definitely the Airbnb of small business, indeed, April. And, it grew out of that necessity and your own trials and tribulations from your popcorn business. So thank you for creating that marketplace, because it's definitely maximizing on space in any hour of the day. So the Airbnb of small business, definitely. So understanding we had the pandemic happen in 2020 and it's still occurring, like kind of new phases here. So how is Faven holding up and what are y'all currently doing?
It's funny, at first, everyone was really scared about what Faven was going to be able to do. And, we were scared too, to be honest. We didn't know how long this thing was going to last. And it's lasted a lot longer than we ever anticipated. We did pivot during the COVID, the beginning of COVID, and we started doing virtual events, which were really cool. I learned through that process that I'm not a big fan of being on camera all the time, which kudos to you guys for doing this routinely, because there's something that happens inside me where I just want to run off the screen and go hide somewhere. But it was great because I got to meet new vendors from all over the country who were able to sell their products virtually. And I kind of hosted like this QVC style of show where I would stand up and just let people tell their why they started their business. We got to focus on different groups like women-owned businesses or veteran-owned businesses or Black-owned businesses. So we got the chance to highlight different groups to help them in a time where we weren't sure about anybody's success. So, but all that to say, we were still working on the in-person events stuff in the background, even though we weren't able to do them in person at the time. We were still doing work on the back end to get those things in place that are needed for the structure of Faven. So like the coding and the UI UX of web designs and all that fun stuff that people don't really think about that's needed in the business. So but I think timing is everything, right? So to be fair, I think that because of COVID, people who own small business shops who have their own brick and mortars, they are more open to the idea of sharing their space because of the unknowns, because of that fact that they weren't able to pay rent every month on time because there was no foot traffic. The idea that people are going back home because they had to shut their stores down. Now they know, okay, maybe I don't need a store all year long, but I could definitely do this on the weekends if someone would be willing to rent out their space to me. So with COVID, a lot of people struggled and weren't able to pivot, in order to keep their business afloat. But if Faven had been in place at the time, I think things could have recovered a lot more quickly. So we are happy to say that we are putting something out there that is going to help with these types of things going forward and forevermore.
And that's so important, to have an opportunity to shift your mind to adapt to the current situation, because nobody knew how to deal with anything that related to COVID, right? And so your ability to take those situations, pivot yourself, and create an adaptation for somebody else. I love the space that hey, yeah, I have a spot, and I don't use it all the time. So, hey, come in here. You could use it from here to here, and I get it back. I love that collaboration. So, Faven has definitely capitalized on the time, has adjusted somewhat. So, what does the future look like for Faven?
Wow, the future is incredible for Faven. So we are partnering with a lot of different community partners here in Tampa. First of all, I'm on the board of Action Zone, which is a military entrepreneur nonprofit that helps people grow their businesses if they don't have any, or start businesses if they really don't have anything. But we're also partnered with HCC from Dr. Andy Gold, and we're partnered with Embark with Lakshmi and Ali Felix. And now we just got accepted into the Tampa Bay Wave, which is a huge win for us because we've been trying to get into the Tampa Bay Wave for about 2 years now. So now we are part of this wonderful cohort with 14 women-owned businesses, all tech-focused. And knowing that we're preparing ourselves to be a company that is investable, in order to get it to a point where it can be available to people all over the country and soon maybe all over the world. But at this point, we are focused on making sure that we have great customers in place, that we have recurring revenue, that we have things that are important to investors in order to present something to them that says, okay, this girl has it figured out. Let's go ahead and give her some good money to get this thing going faster and stronger and get those new people hired to do the things that we need done for Faven. I will say that we've been fairly prudent with our spending, as far as we're not just out there oh, let's just buy up all the marketing and logos and things like that. We've been very prudent about how we spend our dollars, and knowing that eventually we want to be presentable to a group of people that we can show them that we're going to use your money wisely. We're not just going to be, running all over, buying boats and cars and things like that. But Faven, the future of Faven really looks like everyone being able to create their own destiny with their businesses. We don't want those restraints that we've had on ourselves to be the reason why small businesses can't succeed going further, into the future. So anybody who's at home, maybe they have an Etsy shop, they have something that they do from home, and they want to get it out there, but they don't know how. Maybe the farmer's market doesn't have their ideal customer. Maybe they don't want to haggle prices with somebody. Maybe they want to be in a location that's closer to downtown, even though they live, out in the outskirts of town. We want to be able to provide them opportunities to do whatever they choose and whatever they want, whatever they can dream up for their business, so that they don't have to be restrained to just, well, this is what we've always done in the past. This is how small businesses have succeeded in the past, in little increments here and there. But we want them to have sky's the limit. For instance, if we're in Tampa, and this weekend you want to go to Orlando, but you don't know anybody who owns any shops or spaces in Orlando, it's going to make it so much easier for you to just get on faven.com, look up Orlando, see what's available, apply for an opening, and get that opening, and then you'll get all the information afterwards once you get your confirmation. But we want that for everybody. We don't want, I've heard so many stories of well, I live in a small town. We don't really have the farmers markets or the things that you guys have in big cities. We don't want you to be stuck there forever. We want you, yes, the internet is great for things too, but there's something about getting out into your own community or communities around you and letting people know who you are face to face. There's something about that, being able to have that conversation, kind of tell people your why, how you started the business, and getting that connection that helps small businesses grow. And we want to be able to do that for all small businesses everywhere. So I think that's what the future of Faven is.
Oh, that's That's phenomenal. And I'll just say you guys are kind of like a lens, telescopic lens that you look through Faven, and guess what? You can see a lot of more stars out there and align. So thank you for doing that and being a force multiplier, being strategic. And I see Faven being on Shark Tank soon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's definitely an opportunity for you. But let's talk about yourself, April, as far as your leadership capabilities and your roles, as far as from dental to mental and entrepreneur. So tell us first, what professional development areas do you work on to improve your capabilities as a leader?
Oh, well, that's great. Thanks for asking that. Well, first, let me just say I am 1 week away from finishing my master's program. And with everything else going on, I'm trying to get that done as well. But the master's is with AMU, and they have a program that's focused on small business entrepreneurship. So that is what the degree is in. So not even, I don't just eat and breathe entrepreneurship, but I'm also learning it every day, every chance, every opportunity I get. So I do have a lot more knowledge and can pass that along to people, not just people who work for me in the future, but like for people who have, that have no way of benefiting me personally. I just want to be able to pass stuff like that along to the younger generations, mentorship and things like that. But I try to, I'm always listening to good books. So if you have any recommendations on what books I usually choose Audible to listen to, but what books I can listen to develop my EQ, my IQ, anything that's related to being a good leader in a small business, but also in the community as well. Me and my husband volunteer at our local church to, do things that we don't see the benefit of right now as children. Like, kids don't necessarily always know what they're going to church for, but like in the future, when you ask them, oh yeah, I remember Mr. Aaron or Mrs. April, and those little things make a huge impact on children, especially. But anything that is based around the community. So like women entrepreneurship, veteran entrepreneurship, I try to tie those in as many places as possible. My husband is Black, so we try to get him into those types of programs that would benefit his experience of being a leader in our community and in our company as well. So yeah, we're forever learning. That's the idea, right? You never stop learning. That's what my dad always says, never stop learning and do your part. Like, you can just take, you can be a consumer all your life and still end up with nothing at the end. And that says something about like the heart and mentality behind being a giver. People who give, they always have more to give. There's more out there. Like it just gets replenished. So there's no harm in giving. There's no harm in, actually there is harm in not giving. So do your part, give back to the community, to the people who have especially supported you along the way. And I don't know, just keep giving.
No, and it sounds like you're always continuously giving. It's a benefit to be tied into a fountain that would allow you to do so. So great there. Now, there's a lot of emerging leaders, youngsters. It seems like you have an affinity for the young and giving them something that you may have not had before. So in leadership, we all have to grow. These young people, they have to grow as well. So in an effort to help them kind of leapfrog some years with something that you may have learned that just said, wow, I'm glad I learned that at that time because it has served me well all these years. Would you be able to share at least something that they can say, okay, but that's good. I'm gonna take that.
I think there's something to be said about joining the military. Anytime I talk to a young person who doesn't have any idea what direction to go and what they want to do with the rest of their life, I always tell them, join the military. Like, even if you just do 4 years and you get in, get out, you have benefits for the rest of your life. You have education benefits, you have life benefits, skill benefits. You learn entrepreneurial characteristics and you develop them as a leader being in the military. Even if you're just, learning from somebody else who's doing those types of things, you get to be, first of all, it pulls you out of your environment, out of your comfort zone. That's the first thing, because when you're stuck in that comfort zone your whole life, it only gets harder to step out. So if you do it right from the jump, like, it just shows you like, oh, I can do this. I can get on a plane and go somewhere else and learn about somebody else's culture and community and different things like that. Like, I think the problem is that so many people get stuck in their own little worlds and they don't realize what else is out there. And just to remember that entrepreneurship is an opportunity. It's not just, okay, you got to get out of high school, go to college, join the workforce, and then you're stuck in debt for the rest of your life, with student loans and things like that. Like, no, there are opportunities that don't require significant amounts of debt, that you could start from an early age. You hear about entrepreneurs who started when they were 12 years old selling pencils or candy or whatever. And those stories are incredible because it's something that was just in them from the beginning to say, I got this hustle inside me and I got to get it out there into the world. But for people like me who didn't have that initial entrepreneurial gene and had to be developed over time, I think just getting out of my head, like saying, oh, I don't have to have a government job. I don't have to, follow the rules with college. And it's this 2-year degree is taking me like 4 years to finish. So do it at your own pace. You don't have to do everything in a timeline that the world is telling you it has to be done. But get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being out of your comfort zone, and you'll learn things much faster and you'll get to experience other people. And don't be afraid of the world. I mean, there's so many people out there that are just afraid of the world in for various reasons. We're all people. We're all just people, where everybody has their own issues and their own greatness inside of them. So don't be afraid to get out there, to talk to people, to meet people, and to share your story. So that's what I would share.
I think I love that. Join the military, right? That's a great,
Yes, do it.
because a lot of us went in because, like myself, I was a father at 18 and I didn't know what to do next. And that gave me everything I needed all in one. And it's the best institution of education and of being compassionate and embracing diversity and inclusion. So thank you for sharing that, April. And getting out of your comfort zone is very important too. So understanding those great pearls of wisdom you gave, how do you handle the challenges that you're facing or faced in the past?
Oh, I just cry in a pillow and eat Ben and Jerry's all day. No, I like to think I'm pretty resilient. Yes, there have been times where I have had a breakdown, like when the first few times I didn't get into Tampa Bay Wave were really hard for me. But guess what? I didn't give up. I came back for a third time and I got in. So I have to try to remember that timing is everything. And that, just because it didn't work out now doesn't mean it won't work out in the future. Try not to take things personally. Like, there's so many reasons that maybe something didn't work out the way you intended it to. And you don't know everything. You don't know anything outside of your own head. So even the person next to you might have something in their mind that says the reason why this happened is fill in the blank. But I think you have to get comfortable with being rejected as an entrepreneur. Like, I call it the entrepreneur coaster because there's so many ups and downs and turns and twists and things that you never even thought or saw coming. that you just have to get used to being kind of uncomfortable with, and embracing it, not just being comfortable with it, but embracing it, knowing that, wow, this thing happened for a reason. And not only that, but I'm going to be excited about whatever that is and say, that means something better is coming down the road. Like, you have to have that mindset of like, this didn't happen for a good reason. Like, I don't know what that reason is yet, but when I look back on the rest of my story and how it's developed, I can say, oh, wow, this happened because of that. And this happened because of that. And rejection included, all a part of the story, and to embrace that and just to be excited about what that means instead of what you had originally planned for.
Well, hindsight is very revealing. It always teaches, wow, thank goodness that didn't
Mhm.
happen, or thank
Right.
goodness that road actually appeared when it did. And, so we're always dealing with some type of change, especially on an entrepreneurial track of life. And you have to be ready for the things that you can't be ready for. It's just amazing how that works. So in times of change, you have to have some type of strategy around how you're going to deal with change. So how do you deal with change?
Well, and I think the military really helped with that. Like, to be honest, I love change. I think it's it's hard for me to sit still in any one location. So we've been in Tampa since 2019, but we move every couple of years, and I think that's just part of being in the military mindset. Like, okay, we know you're only going to be here for a few years, but that gives you like the opportunity to experience someplace new, to try other things and see where you really like. And we have, I won't say that Tampa is our forever home, but it's definitely going to be our home for a long time until FayVen, becomes what it will become. But I mean, when I look at people like my father who hates change, I was just at his house yesterday. That's why he came into my mind. I wanted to like move some furniture around and, make things look a little bit better. He's just like, no, we're not doing that. We're not, it's fine the way it is. But you know what, when I finally convinced him to like let me make some small changes, oh, this looks really nice, this looks better, okay, good job, April. But I say that because yes, change can be uncomfortable, but it's necessary. It's a necessity of life. It happens no matter what. And if you don't like it, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Like, for instance, I lost my mom unexpectedly in January of 2020, and I think Enrique had a similar thing happen recently as well. So my condolences, but that's a change I wasn't expecting. My mom was 65 years old. I think she actually had COVID before anybody knew what COVID was. But just because you don't like change doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Things are still going to keep going. And you can either just, curl up in a ball and stay at home and pray the world ends or whatever your deal is, or you can just go out there and say, okay, well, I'm going to deal with this. I have to accept it regardless of whether I like it or not. And move forward. Like, that's the only thing you can do, is just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep going. Otherwise, life is so strange and crazy. And if you don't embrace change, then you're just gonna, I don't know what's gonna happen, but you're not gonna be very successful.
Definitely key. So embrace the change and embrace the rejection, as you said earlier. And I'll add, do not get married to it, just
No.
because it is part of life and part of the growing process. And I love the reframing of the positive versus being balled up and in that foxhole. So thank you, April, for that. And I hope our listeners got some great pearls of wisdom from you and are interested about FayVen. So how do they get a hold of you, April, or FayVen itself?
Yeah, Faven.com. It's FAYVEN.com. If you are a vendor, like you have a home-based business and you're in the Tampa area and you want to get out there and sell your stuff in different places, go to our homepage and click register and register as a vendor. And if you are a venue owner, there's another tab for you. So just click the register as a venue and fill out that information so that we can get some new vendors in your space, help you start generating new revenue, bringing in new customers and foot traffic. But yeah, we're working one-on-one with people so that everything's very complementary and customized. So get it while the getting is good, because I'm the one behind the scenes right now doing all the manual stuff to put people together. And eventually we will have a platform that works like Airbnb where you can scroll through the different vendors and pick who you want. But you get this really great service right now with me. So just go ahead and do that. And also email me. You can email me at info@faven.com. You can call me. My phone number is 813-777-9314. I'm happy to answer any phone calls, take any emails. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn here, on Facebook, Instagram. I'm pretty much available wherever, even TikTok now. So, I mean, if you want to jump on TikTok and find us at Faven, go for that. Send us a message, see how we can help you. Let's work together. Yeah, let's make Tampa Bay be the #1 community for technology and small businesses. So
Yeah, I love that. And we'll make sure that that's part of the video so they can get a hold of you and be able to take part of something that's amazing. I love how you've structured it for vendors as well as those that are actually selling to be able to get together and make something happen, right? The challenge as an entrepreneur is, how do I make this happen? And you're facilitating that. So great. And if you are listening and you want to get a hold of us, the leadershipvoid@gmail.com is where you will send that information. Any guest requests, any topics requests dealing with leadership, let us know. We'll curate that and take any actions that are needed at that point. But it's been so good to have you, April. I have been able to see you go from concept. So I've had a benefit that most people have not. But it's so good to see it flourishing as it is, and just wish you all success.
thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and also, April, I want to let you know that we're just fascinated what you're doing, not just for the Tampa Bay, but not only Florida, but the whole world. So that is definitely going to happen and skyrocket. I see that 5 years or less. So now I'm putting it out there in the universe. And also talk about putting it out there in the universe, and timing is everything. We have a subscription drive to reach our 200, and talk about reading a book. We have this wonderful book by Scott McGregor. It's called Standing O Salute Edition. It is lessons in gratitude. So hopefully those who subscribe, one lucky winner will be drawn from those to reach our 200. We're pretty much at over 150, 156, 160. So just hit subscribe on our YouTube channel, The Leadership Void. You enter into that drawing. Also, we do also radio check. 1st and the 15th, we give back. We want to just go out there and talk about how's it going for all veterans, not first responders, spouses, the military community, and the first responder community. So 1st and the 15th, LinkedIn Live, 1900, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're there. Please reach out. Come on, join in, have a laugh. Just enjoy that time with us. And next week, we have another dynamic veteran, but today we're here appreciating a belated birthday of our airman, April Caldwell, and we're just happy to be here. And thank you, April, for being on our show.
Thank you for having me.